Hi, I am Professor Lisa Hussey. I am introducing myself to you for a couple of reasons. One, I am I'm the online teacher for LAS 401, which is Foundations of Library and Information Science, which everyone has to take. I am also generally the online teacher for LAS 404, Principles of Management, which some of you will take and some of you won't, but it's still a course that many of you will end up in. So here's your chance to get to know me a little bit before you're actually subjected to me as a professor. To give you a little background on myself, not all that interesting, but probably like to hear some of it. I am a librarian by training. I do try to include archives as much as possible, but this is one of the things I encourage in my classes is a lot of discussion, because I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And some of you have experience, some of you don't, but you're going to be able to contribute quite a bit to the conversations. You're going to be able to fill gaps that I don't know about, and you're going to be able to ask questions that are going to bring up topics or issues that may not have crossed my mind, but that are important for you to learn about. Other things, I've worked in a school library. It was a private school in San Francisco, a prison library. That's what you guys are all going to remember about me. I've also worked in an academic library, as well as being the program manager for the University of Arizona's library program. A couple of, I would say, kind of interesting facts about me and my background. My degrees are from the University of Miami. That's where I went for my undergrad. Go Hurricanes. Very big on college football. I did my master's at the University of Arizona, and then I did my doctorate at the University of Missouri. The reason why I tell you about these is that these are also libraries that I talk about when I'm talking using examples. I will also use the libraries that I've worked at, as well as places that I've taught, which is also the University of British Columbia, the University of Arizona again, San Jose State University, and obviously here at Simmons. I've also done research on Boston Public Library, so you'll hear about that. I do try to pull in archives when I know about them, and I do try to point out other options that happen with libraries and archives. So that's kind of the dry professional bit about me. Just to give you some interesting facts about me, I'm very big into sports, huge Red Sox fan, love the Bruins, and unfortunately for my students, you hear about this in my classes. If you don't like sports, that's okay, because I don't just use sports in my classes. I use a lot of pop culture, especially anything to do with Joss Whedon, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the recent movies, The Avengers, and oh my god, this fall, the Avengers on TV, the television show. Agent Coulson is back, yay! I'm a geek about that stuff. I also enjoy movies. Like I said, a lot of television shows, and a lot of that ends up factoring into my classes because, again, there's usually some great examples for management, some great examples for how libraries and archives are portrayed in popular media, which is good for us to understand because that has a lot to do with how people perceive us, and how people perceive us has a lot to do with whether or not they use our institutions. I also just like this stuff, so you guys get subjected to it as well. If you come into my office, and some of you will have the chance, some of you won't, you'll find that my office doesn't look like somebody who teaches management because I have toys and figures and things that make me smile, and this is all about comfort and what I like to be surrounded by. This again feeds back into libraries and archives. Do people feel comfortable, and is it someplace they want to be? And these are things that we will talk about more as we go on. I have actually been part of the program we have here that goes to Yonsei University for 2 weeks over the summer. And let me tell you, I don't care where you're located, if you can actually take advantage of that, I would. It's an amazing experience. You get to meet library and archival students in another part of the world, and you actually get to see how these things are taken care of there. How our libraries run, what's seen as important, what goes into the archives. Those things can be really, it's not that they can be really interesting, they are really interesting, and there's something that you can learn quite a bit from. Let me just leave you with, I am always happy to answer questions. Usually the best way to get a hold of me is my email, which you can find on the website. But don't ever worry about asking me a question, even if it doesn't seem directly related to the class. I'm always happy to answer anywhere I can, and if I can't, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. So I hope you've enjoyed this little introduction, and enjoy, go on to other people, perhaps go and watch something enjoyable on TV after having to go through all the videos.